So why are people escaping cities like San Francisco and moving to Healdsburg instead? Should you make the move or stay put? Well, here are 5 reasons why people are moving to Healdsburg, and they're probably going to surprise you. So let's start off with talking about who's moving here, what are they buying, and where the market is headed in 2 to 3 years. Firstly, who's moving here? I recently analysed home purchases in Healdsburg from the beginning of 2023 up until now. 64% of all home purchases were made by people who were not planning to live in them permanently. As you can see from the graph, this number has increased year on year over the past 4 years, up from 37% in 2019. This doesn't mean that they're all second homes, because a number of these will be investment properties, but it does demonstrate the extent to which the market is driven by people either buying a second home or by investors who see Healdsburg as a good long-term investment opportunity for a rental property. If I had to summarize who's moving here, I would broadly summarize the different categories of buyer into probably 4 different types. Firstly, people who've decided to move from busy cities such as San Francisco or the Bay Area. Many of these people are what I would call work optional. I mean, they're still working because they're not ready to retire, or else they're at the later stages of their working life and are looking to make a move to Healdsburg for just a better quality of life, both now and when they do retire fully in the future. The next group of people are people who work in the Bay Area, but following the pandemic have newfound freedom for where they can live. Because Healdsburg is just over an hour away from the city, if they need to go to the office, I don't know, once or twice a week, it is still possible to live here and then make the commute down to San Francisco. For these people, the trade-off of 2 long travel days is definitely worth it. They may even still have a condo in San Francisco, but just now spend more time here. The third category are people who have made the decision to retire here and are upping sticks from wherever they currently live and making the permanent move. I have clients who've done just that, moving from LA, San Jose, and from further afield, North Washington State, and also on the East Coast. The third group of people are people who are moving here because of a job opportunity, most likely in the hospitality industry or working in Santa Rosa, which is the commercial center of Sonoma County. So what are these different groups of people buying? Well, Healdsburg has so many different options to choose from. There are homes in the 55 plus community for people who are retiring here, all the way to family homes on the north end of town, to multi-million dollar homes in downtown Healdsburg and estate homes in the valleys of Dry Creek and Alexander Valley. If you are interested in learning more about the different options in downtown Healdsburg or in rural Healdsburg, then I've got a couple of videos covering each of these different subjects, so I'll put links in the description below. One of the big changes I've seen over the past couple of years is the balance between the number of people looking for a rural property versus an in-town property. That balance has definitely shifted to in-town, or at the very least, on the edge of town. This is largely due to the impact of fires and from people being nervous about living up in the hills around Healdsburg. If people do want to live a more rural lifestyle, they're now much more likely to look for something in and around vineyards because vineyards act as a natural fire break in their own right. For people who are looking for something in town, the most popular choice is always a home that is within a 10-minute walk of the plaza. Of course, that definitely comes at a price, but it gives people a very specific lifestyle which matches their dream of moving up and living in wine country. So where will the market be in the next 2 to 3 years? With interest rates at their current levels, there's definitely some nervousness in the market, but because there is so little inventory, the market is still a pretty strong market for sellers with the right property and the right price. One of the features of the Healdsburg real estate market, certainly over the past few years, has been the number of high-end developments that are being built in the city, such as Montage, Mill District, and now the Enzo project in the North Village. These new developments have definitely consolidated Healdsburg's position as a top travel destination. I mean, this was recently reflected in an article in Travel and Leisure magazine describing Healdsburg as the jewel of California wine country. I mean, I have to agree. Its popularity as a travel destination, combined with the fact that the city has a tight growth management ordinance which actually limits the number of new homes that can be built every year, means that there will never be an oversupply of homes, which will definitely help maintain the real estate market, even if the market softens elsewhere. The other factor, which I believe means the Healdsburg market will be more resilient than most if other markets soften, is the fact that in relative terms, house prices are not that expensive. I mean, you probably think I'm crazy, but let me explain. House price affordability is determined by three different factors: interest rates, the median price of homes, and median income levels. The reality is that a lot of real estate in Healdsburg, as I talked about earlier, is being bought by people earning Bay Area salaries, which are 20-30% higher than the equivalent salaries in Sonoma County. So to many people, homes in Healdsburg are still very affordable when you compare prices to places like, I don't know, Mill Valley in Marin, or Redwood City, or Palo Alto in the South Bay. So all of this means that even if the market does soften elsewhere, it's very unlikely to do so significantly in Healdsburg. But what about Healdsburg in the long term? Well, if we look at the house price appreciation in Healdsburg over the past decade, the average prices have doubled from $940,000 to over $1.8 million. And clearly, we can't say it will be the same over the next decade, but to be honest, I wouldn't bet against it. If you are looking to buy now, I think you should go into the market looking at it as a longer term investment. There are no guarantees that you will make money over the next couple of years, given where the housing market is. But in the longer term, I can't see house price appreciation stalling significantly. I ask myself, is Healdsburg going to become less popular as a destination for visitors or people moving here from the Bay Area over the next decade? The answer in my mind is absolutely not. In addition to that, if interest rates do come down, that will only make the market more competitive for buyers. Of course, we won't get the double-digit annual home value increases that we've had over the past couple of years. We may even see a market that is flat or even 1 or 2 points down. But in the long term, you will never regret buying in Healdsburg as long as you know the market and know where to invest. If you are interested in buying a home in Healdsburg, then I've got another video all about whether now is a good time to buy in Healdsburg that you may be interested in watching. As well as the popularity of Healdsburg as a destination, there are other factors such as increased workplace flexibility and improved links to San Francisco that will only help enhance Healdsburg as a desirable location for people who work in the Bay Area to live in. There's no question the arrival of Smart Train in 2025 will be a huge boost for the town, not just making it possible for people who live here to easily get to a Giants game or go on a day trip to San Francisco, but also cater to the huge number of people who live in Healdsburg and who split their time between San Francisco and Healdsburg due to work commitments. Will it be realistic to commute daily from Healdsburg to San Francisco? Probably not. However, it will be possible to use the service to go to San Francisco for the day, for a meeting, without the hassle of driving, which can only enhance the city of Healdsburg as a destination and a popular place to live. So in summary, what are the 5 reasons people move here? Firstly, the simple economics. People can be earning a Bay Area salary and buying homes that cost less than an equivalent home in San Francisco, or perhaps more likely, buy a home for the same amount of money and they get more living space, a great backyard, and the ability to drive anywhere in the city in 5 to 10 minutes. The next reason is the long-term investment potential. If we look at the housing market in San Francisco, it isn't very pretty right now. With the city in its current malaise, it must be hard for someone to be motivated to purchase a home there, given all the problems with the city. You could argue that things can only get better, but when you look at that market versus investing in somewhere like Healdsburg, there's only one real choice. As a long-term bet, Healdsburg feels a pretty solid one. If we get a repeat of the last decade, your home would be worth double today's prices within 10 years. And the next reason is it's just a better lifestyle. It's all very well making a purchase decision driven by buying power or long-term capital appreciation, but the biggest single reason people move here is to buy into the Healdsburg lifestyle. If you like the outdoors, love food and wine, like the idea of living in a climate where you can live and down outside for the entire summer and into the fall, and don't have to worry about many of the challenges people in San Francisco are facing right now, then you can see why so many people are opting for the Healdsburg lifestyle. The other reason people move here is the power of the real community. It isn't until people actually move here that they realize what an amazing sense of community there is in Healdsburg. It's hard to describe, but pretty much every client I've worked with who has moved here has settled in and found a new group of friends a lot quicker than they ever thought. In fact, there was one couple who said that they'd made more friends in a year in Healdsburg than they had made in a decade in San Francisco. And that was pretty much in the middle of COVID. One of the reasons for that is that there were just so many community events, such as the Tuesday night music on the square, where it's easy to bump into the same people each week and slowly get to know them. It helps that it's a small town of just 11,000 people. You don't live in each other's pockets, but it's small enough to bump into people as you're walking around town. And finally, it's a great place to retire to for all the reasons I've mentioned above. It's easy to see why people choose Healdsburg as a place to retire to. So should you move here? Well, it's a very personal decision. I've certainly never met anyone who regretted it. Many people who do move here are in the fortunate position that they will buy a second home here first, and then as they have less commitments in the Bay Area, make the decision to move here full time. At least by doing this, you can get the opportunity to sample life here first before making the big step. That being said, I would say the experience as a second homeowner versus a permanent resident, it is a very different one. There are plenty of people from all over the US who have decided to move to Healdsburg as a place to retire to. With the new Enzo Village on the north end of town, Healdsburg is definitely going to have a huge influx of new residents who have decided to move to the Zen-inspired life plan community. So whatever your situation, then I can't recommend Healdsburg highly enough as a place to move to, either if you're still working or to retire. I get calls all the time from people who are moving home specifically around the Healdsburg, Windsor and Sonoma areas. So do reach out to me if you're looking at buying in and around Sonoma County or would like to know more. My number's in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll love the next one on screen right now. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, go well.